I used just 3 materials to achieve this beautiful corporate professional trouser on your screen. Hi soulmates, my name is Tekla Ezugu, and in today's tutorial I will be showing you how to sew this beautiful corporate trouser. So if this sounds like something that you like to learn, go ahead now, like this video already, follow us and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for being here. And now that you have done that, let's dive into the video properly. Now I have gone ahead to cut out my pattern on my fabric, and for this trouser I used only crepe fabric, which is 2 yards, cloth gum half yard, invisible zip 1. So that is the 3 materials that I used for this trouser that I made. And you would also notice on my pattern that I did not add any seam allowance on it. You know that exact thing that we drafted, that is exactly what I did cut out, right? So now this is the pocket side, and you would also notice that I didn't add any allowance on the pocket side, and it is 4 pieces, right? Did you see the way I just counted it? It is 4 pieces. Now this is the front pattern, and this front pattern as well, I did not add any allowance. So many of you came to my DM to say, oh, if I didn't add any allowance, how will I now be able to stitch it? Now follow me, let me show you how the magic happens. So you can see that on the front of my trouser, I notched on the parts where my pocket is going to stop, and then I also did the same thing on the back. You would also see that on the back pattern I did also not add any seam allowance, and then you also know that particular place where our dart is going to be, I also notched it as well. So this is everything that I did cut out. Can you see the dart part? I notched that part on my fabric so that I do not mistake it. So I just decided to first show you how I cut everything out on the pattern so that you see. So now let's dive into the video, and if you have not seen the pattern drafting of this video, go ahead to see it and then join us in this sewing tutorial. So for the front pattern, I am going to use 1/2 inch, just the way I am showing you with my marker, to stitch it down, right? So I am going to use 1/2 inch to sew the fabric together, and remember that the fabric that I cut out is 2, right? The fabric that I did cut out is 2 and not 1, in as much as the pattern paper is just 1. Now this is the back pattern. Let me show you how you are going to first sew the back pattern. Now you see this part where we have left after our zip allowance. I am going to come out by 1/2 inch, sorry, come in by 1/2 inch, and that 1/2 inch is what I'm going to use to stitch it down. Kindly notice that I did not start on that my zipper line to sew. I still came in again by 1/2 inch, right? Can you see the way I use my marker to show you? So I am going to mirror this on my fabric, and then I am going to stitch it down like so. Please do not sew on your zipper line. Remember that we came in again, and that is why I came in by 1/2 inch, right? So I am going to sew these 2 things, what I showed you on the back and then what I showed you on the front, and I'm going to go over to my machine. I will stitch that and then I will come back to show you. So after stitching it, this is what I have. This is the back part. Can you see the part that I stitch? And then you would also notice that I have marked out my dart. You know the exact way the dart is on the pattern paper, that is what I marked out. So at this point I was just remeasuring to see exactly what I stitched down, right? Now this is my dart line, right? Can you see? So I am just going to go ahead to pin it. You can see that the same thing that I have on my pattern is exactly what I went ahead to replicate on my fabric. The same thing that I have on my pattern, I went ahead to replicate it on my fabric, and I'm going to stitch it just the way I'm showing you with my hand, right? So I am going to do this on the 2 sides of the back, and I will also do the same thing on the two sides of the front. I hope you were able to understand that. Now, if this is the first time you are coming across my video, whether you are on TikTok or you are on YouTube, I am going to urge you to go ahead now to follow us and subscribe, because if you don't, you are going to miss out on so many amazing tutorials. And you can also check out our page, check out our channel to see all the amazing tutorials that we have, from corset to blazer to beginner tutorials and everything, right? So go ahead now to follow us, and you are going to learn a lot, right? So now that you have done that, also remember to like this video, because you liking this video is a source of encouragement for me, and it at least makes me to know that people are actually seeing my hard work, right? So thank you so much for doing that. Now, after I was done sewing the dart, this is what I have. Can you see? So you also see the way I joined the front as well, and then you can also see the way I joined the back as well. Now that we have done this, this is the next thing that we are going to do. Now we are going to start working on the pockets. You know that initially when I drafted this, I asked whether you people wanted to see it with a side pocket or not, and many of you said I should do the tutorial with a side pocket, right? So now I am going to go ahead to now make the side pocket, and I want you to pay attention. Now you would see that that particular place that I had my line for my side pocket, remember that when we were drafting the pattern, we came down by 5 inches, right? Now on this particular place, I am now going to draw a line. That line that I drew is just the same line that I have on my pattern paper. That is why I brought it back, so that you can understand everything fully. Now, I am going to bring one piece of my pocket. I am going to bring one piece of my pocket, and I am going to place it right side facing right side on my front trouser material. Now, I will place it on top of the front part, and then I am going to sew on it. But before then, I am going to come in by 1/2 inch. That 1/2 inch is where I will stop. I will not sew to the end of my fabric, right? Now, I am going to place this pocket on the right side of my front fabric, not on the wrong side, on the right side. So it's like right side facing right side, right? Okay, so I'm now going to go ahead to sew that line, and then I will stop at that particular point. Now, after stitching it, this is what I have, and you can see that I did not sew all the way to the end of my trouser, right? Can you see that I left 1/2 inch there? Can you see that? So right now, I am going to go ahead to now work on that extra allowance that we have, and also on that part that is open. So this part that I notched initially, I'm also going to cut it open. I am going to cut it very close to that line that I sewed. Can you see that? Then I am now going to go ahead to trim out this excess allowance, because we are not going to need it. Can you see the way I'm cutting it out? Now, watch what we are going to do next. I am going to now go ahead to push that extra seam allowance that we still have on the pocket side, and I'm going to top stitch. Push that extra seam allowance to the pocket side and top stitch. So after top stitching, you can see what we have, and then I will now flip the pocket inside, and you can see how the whole thing is looking. So you can also see that part that I notched initially, and I'm just bringing it out so that you see exactly how that looks. Now I will now bring the second part of the pocket. Can you see that? Now, kindly note that the part that is going to face up in your pocket is going to be the right side, because it's just as good as we are replacing the front pattern, right? So you can see the way I'm placing it, and I am going to join the two pocket fabrics together. Can you see the way I'm showing you with my hand? So I'm going to go ahead to join it together, and after joining, this is what I have. Can you see the way I sewed the curve? Now I am going to go ahead to place it on my front pattern. Kindly note that when I sewed that curve, I did not stitch it on my front fabric. So now I'm now going to place it all together, the three sides of the material, and then I'll now go ahead to pin it down because I'm going to top stitch it together. So this is like the two sides of the pocket, and then the two sides of the and then the side of the front pattern as well, the front material. So now you can see the way I am placing it together. You can see the way I am placing everything together, making sure that the notches are aligning. Please make sure that every single thing that you are doing is aligning before you join it together. So now that this is looking like this, I'll go ahead to top stitch both on the waistline and also on the sideline, right? So you can see that my pocket is already out. You can also decide to top stitch on this upside first, but that is by the way, I will not be doing that. So now you can see what we have. You can see that our pocket is already out. So once I top stitch on the waist, top stitch on the side part, we already have our pocket ready. And I also went ahead to do exactly the same thing on the other side of my front trouser as well. So you can see exactly how this looks. Now, did you learn something new down below? Did this solve a new problem for you? Comment down below. Are you enjoying this tutorial? Comment down below. Drop a comment for me so that I can know that people are actually getting value from this video. So now, the next thing that we are going to do is that we are now going to join the sides of the front with the side of the back. We are going to join the side of the front with the side of the back. Now I place the back on top of the front, making sure that it is right side facing right side, and you can see the way I am pinning that together. So I pinned the first side, and then I'm just going to go ahead to pin the second side as well. Now the allowance that you are going to use to sew this is 1 inch allowance. Remember that we added like extra 2 inches to the pattern, so you're not going to divide it, distribute it one inch to one side and 1 inch to the other side. So now I started from my waist and I used 1 inch to sew it all the way down, right? Can you see what I have? Now we are now going to join the center leg of our trouser. So what I'm going to do now is that I am going to bring the two midpoints both on the front and on the back, and you can see the way I am placing it together, right? And I am now going to go ahead to pin that together. So what I'm going to do now is that I will start from the midpoint of each part and I will sew to the hemline. Start from midpoint, sew to one hemline, start from the midpoint and sew to the hemline of the other one. I'll take that again. You know that we have joined the side of our trouser with 1 inch, right? Now I will now start from the midpoint and placing the front and the back together, and then I'll sew from this midpoint all the way to the hemline of the trouser, and I will do the same thing all the way to the other side as well. Now, if I've not registered for our corset class, click the link on our bio or the link in the comments to reach out directly on WhatsApp. And if you have not joined our WhatsApp community of tailors, go ahead now, click that WhatsApp link in the comments to reach me directly on WhatsApp, or click the send us a direct message link on our bio if you are watching from TikTok, so that you can reach us directly on WhatsApp to join our WhatsApp community of tailors and our Telegram community of tailors. So now you can see what we have. You can see that my trouser is already coming together. You can see that the front is out, and you can see that my pockets are out as well. The side pockets are out. You can also see the back. So now we are now going to attach a waistband on this trouser. And there is something I would like you to note that I did on this trouser. If you noticed, you will see that I did not remove anything from my waistband. You know, when you are making trouser, you might not like 1 inch or 1.5 inches from your waist from your waist. I did not remove it from my band because this is a high waist. Now, if you want, you can remove it. If you want, you can just do it the way I'm doing it. Now, this is a band that I've already cut out and it is about 4.5 inches. I ironed stay or cloth gum to it, right? And then I just ironed it into two. So it is 4.5 inches in width. Now I'm not going to measure the 40 inches that I got on the waist of my trouser, and I'm just going to add extra 1 inch just in case. So when I measured the round waist of my trouser, what I got is 40 inches, and that is exactly what I cut out on my band. And then I'm going to find the midpoint of my band, and then I'm going to notch that, unfold. So I am now going to put this midpoint on the front center of my trouser, on the front pattern at the center of the front, and then I am going to match it up together, and I am going to pin it round the whole trouser waist from the center to one side and from the center to the other side as well, right? So you can see exactly I am pinning that down. Now, if you have not gotten our pricing calculator, if you are a tailor and you're watching this video and you sew for clients, you are into ready to wear, you need our pricing calculator. All you have to do is click the link on our bio, or I will leave my WhatsApp link in the comments. So just click it and you can be able to get your own pricing calculator so that you can make profit from your business. Don't lose money to your clients. Know the right money to calculate so that you can be able to make profit from your business, right? Click the link in our bio if you are watching from TikTok, or you can send us a direct message. Click the WhatsApp link in the comments if you are watching from YouTube, and you reach us directly on WhatsApp. You can also click the link on our bio to get it directly from seller. So now that I've joined my trouser, it's now time to join the zip as well, to add the zip. So now you remember that our zipper allowance that we took out is 2 inches. So right now I am going to mark out that 2 inches. Now on this waist, you can decide how you want your waist to be, right? For me, I decided I want my waist to be a little bit snatched, so I marked 2.25, which is 2 1/4, and then I place my zip there. This is my invisible zip. Now you can see the way I am matching up the zip. I just finished matching up one side, and then I'm going to match up the other side as well. So this is how you are going to amend this cloth. Let's say your client wears this cloth and it is loose on the waist. All you have to do is just to adjust the zip. If it is tight on the waist, all you have to do is just to adjust the zip, right? So you can see the way I am matching up the zipper parts and the zip allowance as well. And I am just going to pin that together, and I'll go to my sewing machine and sew it together. Now, if you have any question, comment down below. If you have any question, just comment your question and I'm definitely going to reply to it, right? So now I am going to go ahead to stitch that zip. After sewing, you can see what I have. I first sewed the the beginning part of my zip down, and then I now stitched very close to the zip teeth, to the zipper teeth, right? So because this is an invisible zip, I sewed very close to the teeth, and you can see the right side. Can you see that the sewing is actually very close? You can also use an invisible machine foot to stitch this down, right? So when I open that, you can see what I have. And now let's go ahead to finish up our zip part. So I just folded that in, and I am going to go ahead to now top stitch on it. Can you see the way I am doing that? So make sure that your zip is in between your main fabric and your allowance that is inside, so that nobody sees the remaining head of your zip. So after top stitching, you can see what I have. I did it on both sides as well. So now for the hemline, you can just go ahead to overlock the hemline, and then you remember that what we took out is 2 inches on the hemline, and you use that 2 inches to sew it back, right? Or you can also use hemming gum if you know how to use hemming gum to hem the hemline. I'll just show you that in a bit. and you can see how our trouser is already looking so nice. So just go ahead to give it a professional ironing at this point and your trouser is good to go. You can also decide to make the leg bigger if you want, but for me this is very okay. So just measure your 2 inches allowance and then stitch it down. So guys, this is where the tutorial actually ended. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have not seen our blazer tutorial, go ahead now to check that out. My name is Tekla Ezugu, and if you found value in this video, comment down below what trouser problem have you been encountering that this video was able to do for you. Please go ahead, comment down below so that we know that people are actually getting value from this video. And remember that we just concluded our blazer series and this is like the trouser of the blazer, so go ahead to check that out on the channel as well. And if you are watching from TikTok, go over now to YouTube to check that out. Also join our community of tailors and get our pricing formula. And my name is Tekla Ezugu. Until the next video, bye.